Hey fellow problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today we're working our way through our Math Test Success book. It is a 25 chapter book with 25 corresponding videos. It is designed for you to be successful on any math exam, specifically the ASVAB military placement exam. You don't have to do it by yourself. I'll be there every step of the way. You can have the video playing, working through the book, and we'll do it together. I've already covered the first 8 chapters. What we're going to do today is we're going to jump all the way ahead to chapter 21, avoiding common math mistakes. And then from there, we're going to take a practice mathematical knowledge exam for the ASVAB military placement exam. You'll see how understanding the common mistakes, and we're going to show you those on an exam, how you could possibly make it. So learning the math is important, understanding what you're doing is important, but in attention to detail and not making any of those simple mistakes that get the problem wrong. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with chapter 21. So the thing about a standardized exam, especially a multiple choice exam, is the answers are usually distractors, meaning the people who wrote the exam do common mistakes and then they make it one of the answers. So even if you make that common mistake, you look down to the multiple choice answers and you'll see it there, and it's tricky. And that's why I want to go over it today. So the first thing I want to talk about are negatives. Negatives are really important to keep track of. Here's a couple ways you could make a common mistake with negatives. If I have negative 5, like that, the way I remember this, there's a guy on a diving board, he jumps up off of that diving board, breaks through the surface of the pool, negative 5 is equal to positive 5. The next one is distributing negatives through quantities. So if I have this right here, negative 2 times the whole quantity, x minus 3, I have to distribute that negative 2 through the whole quantity. So that would be negative 2x, negative would be plus 6. The common mistake would be distributing that negative 2 only through the x and getting negative 2x minus 6. That would be one of the answers on a multiple choice test, and that one is wrong. Distribute through the whole quantity. Really keep track of adding and subtracting negatives, and then multiplying and dividing negatives, also a good place to make a mistake. Remember that a negative times a positive, this is multiplication, is always a negative. A positive times a negative is a negative. A positive times a positive is positive, or a negative times a negative is positive. Okay, the next thing to really be aware of is fractions. You don't want to make any mistakes with fractions. Surprisingly, addition and subtraction of fractions is a lot harder than multiplying and dividing. Remember, to add or subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So if I have 1/2 plus 1/3, I got to get that common denominator of 6. So I turn this into 3/6 plus 2/6 to give me 5/6. A common mistake would take 1/2 plus 1/3, add across the top to get 2, add across the bottom to get 5. That is wrong. That will also always be one of the multiple choice answers. So make sure you always get a common denominator when you add or subtract. On multiplication, it is pretty easy. If I have 1/2 times 1/3, there you just multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. Division, there's a trick. If I have 1/2 divided by 1/3, remember I got to flip this. 1/2 times 3/1. The way I divide fractions, multiply by the reciprocal. So it'd be easy to get 1/6 here too. That would be a distractor answer, but you got to do it this way. You multiply across the top, across the bottom to get 3/2. Depends, Fritz and Ami, to get 3/2. And then you got to look at how the answers are. Is it an improper fraction like that? Is that the best answer? Or converting that into a mixed number? And you'll see one or the other in the multiple choice answers. Okay, order of operations is another place to make common mistakes. Remember, order of operations is PEMDAS, parentheses first, exponents, multiplication, division at the same time from left to right, then addition, subtraction, same way from left to right. So if I have this right here, 6 plus 4 times 2, you got to do your multiplication before your addition. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. So the correct answer is 14. If you did 6 plus 4, 10 times 2, 20, that is the wrong answer. That would be one of the choices there. Make sure in all the algebra you distribute correctly, that you combine similar terms. And then on solving equations, perform the same operation on both sides of the equation. Make sure that thing stays balanced the whole time. Factoring errors, check your factoring by multiplying how you factored an algebraic expression or equation to make sure you did it correctly. Okay, and then word problems are also a great place to make simple mistakes. Primarily what you're doing in word problems is you're translating a sentence into like an equation, and misinterpreting just a single word can mean the exact opposite. If I read too quickly, I do that commonly. So I always go back and I circle key words. So if a problem asks for the width, I circle that word to make sure I'm finding the width, not the length. The first answer in the multiple choice answers will be the length, or it'll be in there so you think you got it right, but you misread the problem. You don't want to get the right answer to the wrong problem is really what this is all about. Same thing with geometry. Really draw it out the best you can on your scratch paper, number it, and double check that you've labeled everything correctly and that you're actually answering what they're asking for, that you're actually looking for the correct piece that they want, not some other piece that might be a little bit more obvious. Okay. And then if you have time, it depends how quickly you work through these time tests, but if you're pretty well prepared, you should have ample time to check all your work. It is a math exam, meaning that no matter what solution you have, you could always plug it back in and check it. So there's always some mechanism in a different way to check it. So it's a really good idea to check your work, but not to spend too much time checking that work. So reread the question, make sure you read it correctly, you circled the key words. Estimate, before you even do any of the work, think about, am I looking for 10 or am I looking for 1,000? Like come up with an answer in the ballpark and then see if your answer is going to be somewhere close there. If possible, work backwards, take your solution and plug it back in. If you could find a different method to solve the problem, go ahead and do that. And then just double check your calculations, that you didn't drop a decimal somewhere or add incorrectly. Checking your work, specific examples with algebraic equations, always take your solution and plug it back in. Again, this is if you have time to do that. Just move ahead right here. So really the key takeaways, pay close attention to signs and negatives. That's the most common place to make an error. Master your fractions, your order of operations, careful with algebraic manipulations, and then make sure you are translating word problems correctly to the equation, use the correct formulas, and then if you have time, check your work. All right, so with all that said, let's go ahead and take a practice mathematical knowledge exam from the ASVAB. What you want to do here is pause the video, do the best you can on this exam, and then unpause the video and watch how I do it. I am going to go through this exam, and I'm going to show you the common mistakes people would make that seem easy. And I'm going to point those out and then show you the correct way to do it. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get started on number 1. What's the value of 3/4 and 1/8? Before I do anything, I look at that and I think about what is the trick. The trick here, the question, what they are asking me is, do you know you need a common denominator? So if I didn't have a common denominator, I'd add across the top to get 4, add across the bottom to get 12. Right? There it is right there. That is the wrong answer. The question is, do you know you need a common denominator? So I have 3/4 plus 1/8. I got to get that common denominator. That common denominator is going to be 8, so I multiply this by 2 over 2. That gives me 6/8 plus 1/8. Add across the top to get 7. Keep that common denominator, 7/8. Correct answer B. Distractor is 4 12s. Okay, number 2, solve for x in this equation here. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides to give me 2x is equal to 7. Divide both sides by 2 to get x is equal to 3.5. Correct answer, answer D. What somebody might do here is divide both sides by 2 first. So the common mistake here, let me go in red here, the common mistake on this algebra equation is say divide both sides by 2, cancel those 2's. 12 divided by 2 is 6. X plus 5 is equal to 6. Subtract 5 from both sides. X is equal to 1. Distractor number B right there, this is wrong. And that's what they're checking. They're checking to see if you know how to solve using the reverse order of operations. Okay, problem number 3 here. Let me move it up a little bit. What is 15% of 80? You might be able to do that pretty quickly in your head. You could go 10% of 80 is 8, and then I want half of that again to get 12. Okay, 15% of 100 is 15. So there's a distractor there. Or if you can't run that one in your head, you could convert this into a decimal, move it over 1, 2 to get 80 times 0.15, 0, 40, placeholder, 0, 8, add down to get 12, 0, 0. And then I got to remember I have my place over 1, 2, 1, 2 to give me that correct answer, 12. Okay, problem number 4. If a rectangle has a length of 12 inches and a width of 5 inches, so I've got length and width, what is its area? So these are inches, so I got to make sure I keep track of my units. Area is base times height. So I would do 12 times 5, 60 square inches. Correct answer is answer C. The distractor here would be the perimeter. If you didn't read area here, and instead you read perimeter, 12 plus 12, 24, plus 10, 34. 34 is right there, a deliberate distractor. All right, hopefully you're doing all of this before me. Here we are, number 5. What's the value of 5 to the power of 3? 5 to the third. That means 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. Correct answer, answer C. The deliberate distractor here is not doing 5 times 5 times 5, but 5 times 3, which is 15. That would be the wrong answer. Okay, problem number 6. I am traveling 120 miles in 2 hours. Those are my key numbers here and here. What's the average speed? Well, I look at my answers. I see they're all miles per hour. So I have all of the units correct. 120 divided by 2 is 60 miles per hour, which is the same as MPH. Correct answer, answer B. The deliberate distractor here is you have this thing reversed. So you do 120 times 2 to get 240. So that's the wrong answer. I hope you're starting to get the hang of this on these standardized exams here. Let's go ahead and take a look at just a couple more. Simplify this. So before I even start, the trick I recognize is, do you know that you're distributing through a quantity? So the correct answer is you distribute this 4 through the quantity to get 4x plus 12 minus 2x. Combining similar terms, 4x minus 2x is 2x plus 12. And I can see the correct answer is answer B right here. The distractor, easy thing to make a mistake of, is to only distribute the 4 to the x to get 4x plus 3 minus 2. 4x minus 2x is 2x plus 3. There's a deliberate distractor right there, answer A. Problem number 8, what is the perimeter of a square with side length of 7? So all sides are the same. Perimeter, this is the important one. 7 times 7, 49. Natural distractor, not asking you for area, asking you for perimeter. 7 plus 7, 14. 14 doubled, 28. Correct answer, answer B. Number 9, what is the value of 2/5 divided by 1/10? Again, the divide fractions multiply by the reciprocal. See, if you don't do that, you'll get 2/50, 1/25. Wrong answer. Distractor, so we have 2/5 times the reciprocal, 10 over 1. 5 goes into here once, into here twice. Gives me 4 over 1. Correct answer, answer C. All right, if you're still here, well done. If you're sticking to it, keep going. If you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. Hit the notification button. Share with anybody else. If a triangle has angles measuring 60 degrees and 80 degrees, 60 degrees and 80 degrees, what is the measure of the third angle? All three angles add up to 180. So 60 and 40 is 140. 180 minus 140 is 40 degrees. Square root of 81 is saying what times itself is equal to 81. Correct answer would be 9, answer C. These are too easy for you, that's great. I do get to some harder ones towards the end. What is the value of 3 plus 4 times 2 minus 1? Right away I see that problem. I recognize it as order of operations test. So I have to do my multiplication first. So 3 plus 4 times 2, 8, minus 1. Left to right now is all addition and subtraction. 3 plus 8, 11, minus 1, 10. Correct answer, answer B. If I went left to right, I go 3 plus 4, 7. 7 times 2, 14. 14 minus 1, 13. Correct answer, wrong answer, answer A. Distractor, answer A. A circle has a diameter, that's a line straight across the circle, of 10 inches. Probably slow it down a little bit. What is the circumference? Use pi is equal to 3.14. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r. Radius is half a diameter. So 2 radius is equal to 10 times pi. Pi is 3.14, so 10 times 3.14. 10 just moves that over one place to give me 31.4. Correct answer, answer B right there. Moving this thing up, number 14. Solve for x. X over 3 is equal to 9. The way I do this, one ratio equal to another, cross multiply. X times 1 is equal to 3 times 9. Correct answer is 27. Okay, number 15. If a shirt costs $25, is on sale for 20% off. What is the sale price? So I'm going to do 2 times 25 to get 5. It is $5 off. So I have to do 25 minus 5 to get a correct answer of 20 bucks. Number 16, a rectangular prism has a length of 8 and a width of 6 centimeters. Centimeters, all units are the same. And a height, so this thing comes up, it's in 3D, and a height of 10 centimeters. These are all centimeters, I'm checking that. What is the total surface area That's the trick there. Be natural to go 48 times 10 and get 480. That would be the volume, but I want the surface area, so I got to add them all together. This side right here is 6 by 10, 60. I have matching sides, so 120. This front side here, 4 times 6, 48, times 2, 96. The bottom is 8 by 10, 80, times 2, 160. See if I could just answer it from there. 2 of them end in 6, so I have 6, 11, 17. Carry the 1, 376. This is correct. There is no correct answer there. I must have done something funny there. Sorry about that. The correct answer on that one is 376. Oh, that was a hard one. Okay, last two right here. Let's see if we can figure these two out right here. If a train increases speed from 40 to 60, so it goes from 40 to 60, by what percent did it increase? It's a little tricky. You don't want to do 60 and 40. You want to say, how much more of 40 to get to 60? So 40 plus 20. So I have 20 as my increase over my original amount. 20 over 40, those cancel. That gives me 2 over 4, or 1/2. The decimal equivalent of that is 50%. Last problem, number 18, is going to be distributing across those quantities. I have 2x plus 1 over 3 is equal to x minus 4 over 2. I'm going to have one ratio equal to another. I'm going to cross multiply that times that. So 3 times x minus 4, 3 times this whole thing, is equal to this times this. 2 times this whole thing, 2x plus 1. Distribute through the whole quantity. 3x minus 12 is equal to 4x plus 2. Solving for x, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. That'll cancel. 4x minus 3x gives me that x. Minus 2, keeping track of my negatives, negative 14. X is equal to negative 14. Correct answer is answer A. If you had added 2 to both sides, oh, not a distractor there. All right, well, I sure hope that was helpful. Again, this is a practice mathematical knowledge test for the ASVAB, but it'll help you on any standardized exam. Even though I jumped ahead to chapter 21, next video will be chapter 9. I appreciate your support. Any questions, please ask them in the comments.